Rams fans, welcome into Rams Showcase. My name is Sheriff Joe Baggs. Tonight, the post-Stafford Rams. Should we care about that yet? Plus, the hit list is officially out. Let's talk about it. And later, you ask, I answer. Fan quesos. Let's rock.
This is Rams Showcase with your host, Sheriff Joe Baggs.
Yes, welcome into it, Rams Showcase. My name is Sheriff Joe Baggs. Lots to get into tonight. We are talking about the NFL schedule, also answering your fan quesos. I want to also hit on a couple of quarterbacks out of the NFC West, one being, of course, our very own Matthew Stafford, and what the world will look like post-Matthew Stafford. We'll talk about that here just shortly at Rams Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Baggs, ramshowcase.com. That's where I exist on the internet. But heads up on this episode here, because you can see that I am dressed this way. This is a certain day that I am recording this. This is Saturday. I just finished up doing Tuna and the Sheriff episode this week. But I wrote this segment out, and I didn't want to wait until next episode to put it in. And then I also didn't have a chance to finish the episode that I had just recorded on Thursday because of just the crazy week. So I recorded it, didn't have a chance to put it all together. So I'm actually going to put this into that episode, and it's going to make all the sense. I promise, okay? But let's go ahead and get into our main story tonight. The post-Stafford Rams. Should we care about this quite yet? Simply put, yes and no. Simply put. The argument for yes. Players come and go. The Rams are forever. The Rams will exist post-Stafford, much like our fandom. So yeah, it definitely matters. It's always important to be planning for the future. The Rams have done an incredible job of planning ahead in this new era that we have been experiencing over the last few years, since really the return of Los Angeles. That first year you can kind of toss out, but ever since then, this whole new era has been very calculated in the way that they're making moves. The Rams have an extremely young core right now and tons of talent that is prepared to be around for years, while Stafford is, let's call it what it is, in the evening of his career. We don't know how many years he's got left, but it's past noon in Stafford's career. It would also be quite foolish to not have some sort of plan in place for the most important position in football. The argument for no, the Rams are built to win right now with Stafford. So why would we care about what happens post-Stafford? He's still here today, you know? It's like call your loved ones now. Don't talk about how much you should have called them after they're gone kind of situation. We have Matthew Stafford right now. We don't have to necessarily worry about the world after that. I don't think that anybody would trade a ring for a really solid prospect to learn behind Stafford, which is something that I think some fans, in a roundabout way, were kind of voting for this offseason, heading into the draft also. Some fans wanted the Rams to take a quarterback with their first pick. But what if Ferguson scores a game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl? Was that still a bad move? Do we still wish we would have had a backup quarterback for the future? I don't know. I guess that's all a matter of perspective. And maybe that's a bad example. There are some really good teams in the NFL, and to get to the Super Bowl is very, very hard. Anything can happen. A lot of teams are talented enough to go on and win a Super Bowl. But having Ferguson on the field feels a lot more like 2025 value than having a backup quarterback that's on the sideline, probably in street clothes, because Jimmy Garoppolo is actually the backup quarterback. Peace of mind for a post-Stafford world does not beat swinging for the fences this year, which is what we have the chance to do this year. I just don't think that it defeats that section of it. The Rams also have done a really good job of planning ahead in this new era, like I had said. Okay, so I'm guessing that Tony Pastors, Les Snead, Sean McVay, I'm betting that these guys have a plan for what the world looks like post-Stafford. My guess is that McVay won't want to develop a rookie. I bet the Rams are willing to spend 2 first-round picks on a guy they know will work in the NFL rather than one that's essentially a coin toss. That's what NFL draft picks are, especially at the quarterback position. You don't know if that guy's going to work for you or not. So my guess would be that Sean McVay is going to see the NFL landscape here, see some teams who might be looking to build up their future and maybe try to make a trade for a quarterback, much like we did with Matthew Stafford. The Rams also have a bonus first-round pick right now from the Atlanta Falcons that they could package in to make a move if this move were to happen as early as this upcoming offseason, of course. So, should we care about the post-Stafford Rams and what they look like? It's really up to you. Truly, it's up to you. What side whether you want to be super concerned about what the Rams are going to be doing post-Stafford, or if you're just like, dude, we got Stafford now, we'll worry about that when we get to that. You know what I mean? So should we care? Up to you entirely. On one hand, Stafford could be entering his last season any year now. It could be this year, could be next year, could be the following year, could be 5, 6, 7 more years that Matthew Stafford plays. I don't know how his body's feeling and how much football he's going to want to endure. But the Rams have a super young core right now. It's critical that Stafford leaving doesn't derail everything. And I understand that perspective as well, that you can build all you want to for right now, but if Stafford at the end of the year is like, okay, well, I'm done. That's too much football for me. I am capped out on football. That the Rams have some sort of plan, and it doesn't just crumble because we can't figure out the quarterback position. So that is obviously important. But on the other hand, what has the Rams front office done to earn this current lack of trust? Their ability to handle this position has been proven, especially since the Les Snead and Sean McVay combo has come together. Their ability to address this position, I don't think should have as little trust as it currently has from the Rams fan base. McVay has had 2 full-time starters, has helped both of them get to a Super Bowl. The Detroit Lions with Jared Goff have a pretty damn good roster, have not made it to a Super Bowl. I think there's something to be said for that as well. But when the time comes and Stafford does retire, the Rams will likely have their eyes on somebody already and are going to have conversations to make a move. And while Stafford is still here, we don't know how many years we've got. He's still here, dude. I mean, 9 is still here, dude. So while we have him, might as well try to put the best team around him as possible, not necessarily try to find his replacement already. You know what I mean? We don't need backups. We need guys who can come in and contribute and can help win football games this year. This team is in a position to push for a Super Bowl this year. Why would we want a backup to worry about the future in that sense? Hey, if it can work out, it can work out. But I think that having Ferguson is way better than having a backup quarterback. I know a lot of Rams fans wanted a backup. They wanted Jackson Dart. They wanted Shadur Sanders, all these guys. Ferguson being on the field is better than having those guys in street clothes behind Jimmy Garoppolo on the bench. That's my biggest point on all of this, I think. But this Rams team currently boasts one of the best quarterback minds in the NFL and has some extremely talented players around him. I think that the Rams fans over the last few years, we've come to learn what the Detroit Lions fans have known for many years, which is Matthew Stafford, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's not as flashy. He's not as obnoxious. He doesn't run for a bunch of touchdowns and hurdle guys, but he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Lions fans have been pounding the table for this for many, many years, and because of the teams that were around them and the records that they were ending with, a lot of attention didn't go to Matthew Stafford. Now that we've seen him for a few years, though, now we can see, oh yeah, he's absolutely one of the best in the NFL. Absolutely. But solid offensive line, solid run game, incredible weapons to throw to, and a defense that is extremely young and talented, and all indications say should be better this year than they were last year. I mean, we got playmakers all over the place, so go for it this year. You know what I mean? Post-Stafford, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, dude. We are in the Stafford era right now and in a position to win a Super Bowl. So that's my perspective. I don't necessarily care as much because, again, what has this front office done to earn a lack of trust, right? What happens post-Stafford? We can cross that bridge when we get to it. But for me, I trust this front office to have some contingency plans in place pending what happens with Stafford. I don't know what from the fan perspective of what, just because we don't know what that plan is, we think that there's not one. But what has this front office done to show that they don't have some sort of plan in place to address the quarterback position when Matthew Stafford does decide to call it quits? I don't know. So whether you want to worry only about the post-Stafford world or not, that's completely up to you. I myself am just living in this moment, man. I'm soaking this bad boy in, man. I'm day to day right now in my Rams emotions. We've known how bad this team can be, okay? We've seen this team crawl from the depths of 2009 into hoisting a Lombardi. We might be, a 2009 Rams team again eventually. You know what I mean? So let's just soak this in while we can, man. I'm absolutely here for it. But again, this front office has given me no reason not to trust that they will have some plan on addressing the quarterback position when Matthew Stafford does decide to call it quits. The San Francisco 49ers also have a quarterback situation that they have addressed and have completed now as Brock Purdy. It has officially been extended by the San Francisco 49ers and is averaging $53 million a year. That isn't exactly what it comes to every single year, but a good chunk of guarantees included in this as well. But $53 million a year for Mr. Irrelevant. Gotta say congrats to Brock Purdy and the gang there. I mean, obviously, when you can be in that kind of situation where he was, living with a roommate and stuff like that, and now you're making this kind of money, I think that's absolutely incredible. What I do love about this, though, even more, is from the Rams' perspective, is that I don't think that Brock Purdy is that good of a quarterback. And I'm not just sitting here trying to be a Rams fan, trying to throw shade at a division rival, but I think that from what I can see, he's captain check down, and the existence of a Christian McCaffrey has helped Brock Purdy and his numbers quite a bit. I think that Brock Purdy doesn't elevate his team around him. I think he just kind of participates in it. I think he's one of the most average quarterbacks in the NFL, because I also don't think he's necessarily a bad quarterback. He's not ruining anything for his team, but I do think he's just kind of going through the motions for that offense. And he needs players around him to be successful, which a lot of guys do. We can call, we can say that stuff about Stafford as well, about last year and early season when we had guys hurt and we weren't winning football games, that he wasn't willing the Rams to wins. But we also saw a lot. We've seen a lot of other situations where Matthew Stafford has made other people better and made great players even better. Like Cooper Kupp, who's a very, very talented player, but I think that Matthew Stafford really was able to bring something out of Cooper Kupp that we had not seen before. And I mean, since let's call it what it is. That 21 season from Cooper Kupp is kind of a superhero situation. He's obviously very talented, very awesome dude and stuff like that. But that 21 season, that was the peak for sure. I don't want to say necessarily he's fallen off or anything like that, because he's still very good. He's also now a rival too, so I hope he sucks. But there's that part. Another mention on Brock Purdy and the numbers that he is making. If you look at all of the guys that are right around what Brock Purdy is making, whether that's up to Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, all those guys, all the guys that are in that bucket of that, over 50 mil a year, that kind of window, 0 Super Bowl rings. I think it's important to note that Matthew Stafford definitely took less to play for the Rams, but also might be able to add a ring this year. So at what point does that become the argument that Matthew Stafford takes less money but wins a Super Bowl, or Brock Purdy gets a little bit more money per year and doesn't? The good news is, with this contract for Brock Purdy, we will know within the next 3 years exactly who he is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's incredible. Maybe he's a Hall of Famer. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's terrible, because I think he's average. Maybe he falls off a cliff hard and is looking lost out there. Or most realistically, I like to think, is that I'm more right than I'm not, and that he is about a middle of the road quarterback. Did he get overpaid? Some people will argue no. Some people will argue yes. And then we kind of just have that battle of like, well, yeah, he is your guy, though. If you want your quarterback, you got to pay him, stuff like that. But if he doesn't win a ring, is it too much? I think that's my ultimate question. We'll take a break here, and then we'll get back to the ghost of Sheriff Joe Bag's past, who was actually recorded on Thursday. This is Saturday, so the ghost of Sheriff Joe Bag's past will be joining you here. And, fan quesos and the hit list. Talking about it. That's next, Ram Showcase. Yes, welcome into it, Ram Showcase. My name is Sheriff Joe Baggs. We officially have the hit list. The Rams 2025 NFL schedule. It's going to be absolutely awesome. We are fired up for it. We are also planning out some trips now, dude. That's the best part of all this, I think, is the excitement of like, ooh, which ones am I going to get to go to? There was, of course, a lot of rumors as we were diving into the schedule release. The day of seemed like everybody needed to be first. Everybody needed to say, hey, this game is this day. It's in October, but it's gonna be on this day. I got to tell you first before everybody else does, which is real fun and exciting. Pointless for sure, but hey, if that's the game you play, the leak game, then more power to you. I don't like to participate in that stuff. I think that official announcements are way cooler than hearing a leak, just like a random tweet of like, hey, we play this team on this day. Like, cool, thanks, guy. Like, I don't know. And the better part about that too is that the schedule release videos, which I don't know who started the schedule release videos, but it does feel like the Rams have been doing this for quite a while now. But this year we had Brenda Song do like a Saturday Night Live, kind of like a weekend update kind of style of the schedule release. I gotta say, some of those jokes absolutely had me dying. The boombox joke with the 49ers absolutely killed me. Also, there's a little bit of something that I appreciate in the Arizona Cardinals aspect of it, of not making jokes towards them. And, like, I feel like them being a division opponent is like, yeah, we want to make fun of them and stuff like that, but, like, we got to win a playoff game at their house. And so, yeah, we hate them. We hope they suck and stuff. And we hope Kyler Murray gets absolutely destroyed by Jared Verse a bunch of times in a row. But there's also a little bit of me that's like, you know what, though? Let's just put that stuff aside for just a little bit here and just show some appreciation. So I know for myself, that is one game I would like to get out to. A little bit of just how I would like to spend my dollar bills at State Farm Stadium, considering their hospitality and the fact that there was no issues with like not wanting to put up our stuff in the venue and stuff like that, making it truly feel like a Rams home game from the people that I heard about that were at that Rams Vikings wild card matchup just this past season. So that was absolutely awesome. But Brenda Song, like I had mentioned, was the one doing that. I'll be completely honest here, and I feel like people think that I say this stuff to be cool. That's not the case here. I have no hatred towards Brenda Song. Obviously, I didn't know who she was until this happened, and I think people get really surprised by that. But I am also in my 30s, and I'm a single male with no kids. Why would I know Disney stars, dude? So it's more weird if I'm like, oh yeah, Brenda Song. I'm no, but either way, we will dive into fan quesos. They are mostly schedule related. That was kind of the intention with this one. But want to stick as far as like schedule related content as I can for this episode. Probably be a lot shorter than typical. But let's go ahead and dive in at Ram Showcase at Sheriff Joe Baggs. It's where you follow along on socials. So in the preseason, nothing too exciting there. I'm a little bit bummed, I suppose, that the road game for the Rams is in Cleveland. So that's a little bit unfortunate. I was hoping for a Denver stop from the Rams, but it didn't work out that way. But first two will be at SoFi Stadium as the Cowboys first off, and then the Chargers for the second preseason game. But those games there, we're talking about practice when it comes to preseason games. Of course, we'll overreact to those when the time comes. But the regular season, beginning on Sunday, September 7th, it is a 1:25 p.m. Pacific time kickoff for the Los Angeles Rams hosting the Houston Texans. So that is our opener. C.J. Stroud and the boys coming to town. And I know that there is some former Rams there. Maybe I should have pulled up that list of the former Rams that we'll be seeing in some of these games. I do remember some of them, not all of them though. But Houston, we open with at home against the Houston Texans. So kicking off with an AFC opponent that isn't really typical, but we have seen that in the past as far as opening with AFC opponents. Bills a couple years ago. McVay's first year, we opened with the Colts at the Coliseum. So definitely not so completely out of the world here, but Houston coming to town week 1. Week 2, Rams hitting the road and an early window kickoff, which is quite the bag of bummers. Hate those early window kickoffs for sure. It's local time for me. I live in Colorado, so I'm Mountain Time. So that's an 11 o'clock, so not awful for sure. But I think the 2 o'clock, the 2:25 kickoff local for myself, that is definitely preferred. I know it is, of course, earlier for most of the LA Rams fans being on the coast, of course. But at the Tennessee Titans, this should be an interesting game. Obviously, we'll see the rookie quarterback there, Cam Ward, as in his second game of NFL action. So that should be rather exciting stuff. So kicking off with two AFC opponents. So as far as like opening the season, pretty anticlimactic. Those games will not necessarily be games that we look back on. It's like, oh, if we could have just beat the Houston Texans in week 1, or if we could have just beat the Titans in week 1, or good thing we beat the Titans in week 2, because then that's why we're in the playoffs. Like, that's probably not necessarily going to be the case. But the week 3 matchup, certainly one that will come into play. I believe will come into play for NFL seeding, and it is another road game for the Rams, which is at the Philadelphia Eagles on the 21st of September, again in the early window. So that's really unfortunate. 2 early window kickoffs for the Rams early season. And also, I'll say this. I do like that this game is early season. We don't have to deal with the weather when we go back up to Philadelphia this time. But the Los Angeles Rams at the Philadelphia Eagles being in the early slot in a week 3 time frame just feels so anticlimactic to me. Given that game that the Rams and Eagles had in the playoffs, where the Rams essentially got within 15 yards, 1 or 2 plays from taking the lead in that game and possibly moving on to an NFC Championship game that would have been at SoFi Stadium, for this game to be an early slot, I just feel like is a little bit of a slight towards one of these teams. Well, maybe they're trying to slide us a little bit, but there's something about this matchup, Rams at Eagles, that just feels like it's prime time action. And it clearly is not, according to the NFL schedule makers, which is really unfortunate. Another game here coming up in a few weeks that I also feel like being in the early slot just doesn't make a lot of sense considering the caliber of the teams that are going to be participating in the game. So the Rams after that, week 4, heading back home to Los Angeles. We do get the late slot here, but it's the 05 slot, so the 1:05 local time, which is a little bit unfortunate as well. Typically, those early games are not over yet, so if you're somebody like me living in Colorado who is going out to bars to hang out and crush brews with the bros, then it's unfortunate because sometimes we'll miss the beginning of the game. So neither here nor there. The Indianapolis Colts heading to Los Angeles. So we'll see if Anthony Richardson, if he can even hang through the first 3 weeks of the season, then maybe we'll get to see him in week 4 if his body can even handle that much football. You know what I mean? So who's to say? But that's also a game that I know me and the Rams squad out here are potentially looking to go into. That was the Colts matchup was one that we were interested in. So that is certainly in a time slot that does work for a possible LA trip out of one Sheriff Joe Bags. Rams in week 5 will be staying at home, which is good news considering this game is going to be on Thursday Night Football at home against the San Francisco 49ers. First game in Rocktober time. So that's, of course, TNF, first division game of the season, and only the second non-AFC game for the Rams in the early season here. Next up is the other game that I was referring to just a moment ago, of a game that just feels like it has a little bit more oomph to it than an early slot on a Sunday early season. Week 6 at the Baltimore Ravens, 10 a.m. Pacific time kickoff, which again just feels anticlimactic. It feels like these are two teams that are possibly fighting for a Super Bowl, and to have it just an early slot, and I realize too, you can't get every matchup that feels good in a primetime slot. I don't even know what the rest of the week looks like right now. I'm only paying attention to the Rams schedule. I've had like my friends text me their schedules. I was like, I don't care about your Packers schedule, Jackson. Get out of here with that, man. I care about the Rams. I'm trying to memorize this thing. Get those other matchups out of my head, man. But at Baltimore in week 6, that's a great matchup, man, for sure. But those early windows, quite the bag of bombers, and we're 50% early window slots so far in the schedule. What is good about this game, though, being on being over on the East Coast here, is that the Rams leave from Baltimore and just go straight to London, where they will play at Wembley Stadium against the Jacksonville Jaguars for Week 7. So, of course, that does help out a lot. We've done it before where we played at the Jags and then out in London. I think that was the last time that we played out there, which would have been that Bengals game where Cooper Kupp absolutely went off. It was really exciting stuff, but it happened with the Jags, and then I remember that game specifically because it was one of those weird color combination uniforms where we had to wear we were in the dark blue jerseys with the gold numbers and then the white horn and stuff like that. So it was one of those super mismatched looking games where it looks like, you know, the combos that you can put together in Madden or something like that, and that was cool. But then, of course, heading out to London after that. So a bit of a long trip there for the Rams roster and coaching staff and other members who will not be heading home. So what's good about that is you get Thursday, so you get a little bit of extra time. You get out to Baltimore, and then you get out to London, and then a bye week. So that's actually not too bad there. And if you're keeping track, if you're counting at home, that's 5 AFC matchups within the first 7 weeks before heading into the bye week. So knock them all out right away. So, of course, we do play it's the AFC South, so we got all those matchups. And then the same place finisher matchup that we have is that game against the Baltimore Ravens. So something to keep your eyes on there. As AFC games done by the bye week, which is, interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. My emotions are like very... looking at our schedule, I feel like we're like an afterthought. It's like they made everybody else's schedule, and then ours just kind of happened to be created while they were creating all the others. Does that make any sense? I don't know if it does or not. But after some rest, the Rams will take on who knows at quarterback as they host the New Orleans Saints in Week 9. This is, again, a 1:05 p.m. Pacific time kickoff. So, again, a little bit unfortunate with that time slot. Just wish it was just that 20 minutes later. Why not just 20 minutes later? Either way, it'll be interesting to see who is playing quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Is it going to be Spencer Rattler? Is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? Or is it going to be, in my mind, I think that this is absolutely possible, somebody like Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson coming over from the Giants, as that makes total sense that somebody will make a move. Or, hey, what the heck do I know? Maybe it's Jimmy Garoppolo. I have no idea, man. So I think that ultimately right now the Saints and their quarterback situation wide open and no idea what's going on there. But some interesting players still there. So we'll kind of see how the Saints are shaking out. I do kind of anticipate them being one of the lower teams of the season. After that, Rams will be hitting the road again, 1:25 Pacific time. This is coming on Sunday, November 9th. So we are into November. We're set. This is 2 games now into November, which historically under McVay have not been killer, I guess, for the Rams. But we got some really good matchups here, and matchups that we certainly need to stack some dubs on. You know what I'm saying? So at the San Francisco 49ers for this one, that means that we will be wrapped up with the 49ers by week 10. I think that, you know what? That's kind of weird. I think, I don't know, man. I feel like our schedule is very like, I feel like the schedule of the Rams is the schedule makers thinking, like saying, like, oh, we don't expect the Rams to be very good. That's what it feels like to me, at least. And then you got Dallas out here with 7 primetime games. What are we doing out here, dude? And the opener, man. Dallas included on the opener as well. It's going to be like 34-10. It's not even going to be a good game. Philadelphia's just going to beat the butt cheeks off the Dallas Cowboys. Brian Schottenheimer is their head coach. Are you kidding me right now, NFL schedule makers? You kidding me right now? 7 primetime games and the kickoff game for a team that's probably going to be picking 2 overall next year? We need to relax on that. Or maybe I just need to relax on that. I don't know. Some people have been like, dude, Dallas is going to be much better than you think. I don't think so. I don't know, man. But either way, that's not necessarily important. We don't even play Dallas this year. Next up, though, still in November time, Jovember time, we're going to be 1:05 Pacific time. Again, an 05 kickoff slot. This one is happening at home against the Seattle Seahawks. This is the return of one Cooper Kupp, but it is, of course, in Week 11. We'll see if his availability is shifted by this time. We know his history of availabilities And yeah, we'll see, man. It's week 11. That's a lot of football that happened before that. But obviously, no hatred towards Cooper Kupp. Just hope his team sucks so hard this year. That's all. But that one, of course, being at home. And then we'll have one more against the Seahawks in a few weeks after that. Next up, Sunday Night Football, 5:20 Pacific Time kickoff as the Baker Mayfield-led Bucs heading to town, man. This is one I'm absolutely interested in going to. We'll kind of see how it shakes out, but yeah, that's definitely one I would love to be a participant of. Also, my sister is a big Bucs fan, so that would be some fun family stuff there. There was, of course, all the rumors that the Rams and Bucs was going to be on Thanksgiving. The Rams haven't played on a Thanksgiving time slot in so many years, and honestly, I don't want them to. I like Thanksgiving to just be a day where I can just grub out, get hammered, and watch other teams. I don't want to be too emotionally invested in it. Like that Broncos-Rams Christmas Day game, that was so hard for me, man. I was just focused. I just blew off my family for 3 hours. It was awesome. I mean, it was great because I was in Denver for all of that, but either way, I'm glad it's not on a holiday, but we still get a primetime action for this. And Baker, TD Maker, is heading back to Los Angeles to check out his former team. And we will never forget the incredible action that Baker Mayfield brought to the Rams as a 98-yard touchdown drive to beat the Raiders, dude. That was pinnacle, man. Pinnacle stuff. Pinnacle action in the 22 season. And it was the following week I got to see the Rams in person up in Lambeau. It was a Monday night game, but didn't go as well. But Baker Mayfield threw his 100th career touchdown pass, and Tyler Higbee became the Rams' all-time leading touchdown scorer for tight ends in that game. So it's a long way to tell you that the Bucs coming to the Rams in Week 12. After that, Week 13. This is going to be an interesting one because there are so many former Rams that are rocking with the Carolina Panthers right now. Jordan Fuller is now gone. He's with the Atlanta Falcons, though, so we'll still see him. But you got Bobby Brown, Christian Roseboom. I think Nick Scott might still be there. So, yeah, there is some players there, some former Rams that are filling out the roster out in Carolina. This will be in Week 13, though, so as far as, like, intel on, like, Christian Roseboom being like, oh, if they're lined up like this, they're doing this, that's not going to be real, especially considering under McVay, the Rams' offense has had a wildly different like structure to it. Every single year we've seen different structures, and we are anticipating a different structure this year than we saw last year. So I wouldn't get too invested in like the Bobby Brown's going to give him secrets, Christian Roseboom's going to give him secrets. Not going to happen. Also, they've got all the information. There's no secrets that Bobby Brown doesn't have anything that's like, if they ask him this question, man, we're gonna lose because he's gonna spill the beans, man. It's not a real thing. So that is also an early slot, the 10 a.m. Pacific time kickoff at the Carolina Panthers. Should be an interesting matchup there. Next up, at the Arizona Cardinals. This is one that I think a lot of Rams fans are interested in going to, and not for negative purposes, not for evil, dude, not for evil. I think that a lot of Rams fans. Maybe it's me projecting a little bit as well because I'm very much in this world of I want to see. I just want to kind of support a little bit, just a skosh, dude, just a skosh of support for Arizona, considering the hospitality that the whole Rams organization was shown in this playoff game last year. So I would absolutely love to do that. I don't know if you're in that boat or not, but either way, Arizona is one that I would like to get out to. And again, being in Colorado. And Arizona's that way, but I think that ultimately too, I would like to get out there because it's like one of the closer stadiums to me outside of whatever Denver's stadium's called now. It's got too many names. Okay, I will forever call it Invesco. That was the first name it had. Invesco at Mile High, or just Mile High Stadium, I suppose. That kind of always locks in. But after that, Rams will be heading back to Los Angeles this time to take on a late season matchup here against the Detroit Lions. And this is going to be a huge game as we do anticipate the Lions and the Rams both being in playoff contention here. So this game being in the afternoon slot on a Sunday in December is absolutely awesome. Them coming to our house is, of course, big there, but it seems like we've had so many close matchups with these Detroit Lions that this is one of those games where it's like, we just got to win this one, man. You got to talk about the Lions. That whole week we talked through closed teeth, all right? These Lions, man, are going down. Jared Goff, Like that's the whole week at that time. All right. So get ready because it's going to be an aggressive week. All right. And that's going to be a fun matchup though. Either way, that's another one I would like to go to. In fact, if I could pull it off, this is a dream Joe scenario, would be to go to Arizona and then to LA just in one trip and hit the Cardinals game and the Lions game. After that, though, Rams on a short week and heading up to the Seattle Seahawks. So that means, let me take a quick look-see here. Okay, yeah, so it's the Thursday against the Niners is at home, but we do get two division teams on a Thursday night, low time to prep kind of situation, which is a little bit of a bummer, but hey, this team can handle whatever, dude. So this is going to be on the 18th of December, which is actually incredible. Get that a little bit further away from Christmas Day, which is kind of nice. And the Rams at the Seattle Seahawks, which the Rams have done a good job against the Seahawks in recent years. I am under the belief system, I suppose, that I think the Rams and the Cardinals are going to be the top two teams. Rams won. I think that it'll be a little bit of a gap. I think Cardinals, Seahawks, Niners, I think do have a bit of a similar season than they had last year. Which then they'll have to blow it up, which, I mean, let's face it, hilarious. But unless it doesn't happen, of course, that's also possible that they're just like better than I think they are. Dallas and San Fran, they're two teams that I just don't see it. I don't see it. But people are like, nope, you don't know what you're talking about, Joe Bags. And maybe, I don't know. I don't know. After that, though, Monday night. So we get another mini bye here, which is kind of nice because it's Thursday night into a Monday game. So we get that little extended break at the Atlanta Falcons. So we do have, it's two road games, but at least we'll be able to get back to LA, get some practice in and all that good stuff. Hang out for Christmas, which is fun. The team gets to be back and kind of not having to worry about too much. But of course, Monday the 29th, of course, the Christmas will be right up in that action, of course. But at the Atlanta Falcons, this is a really interesting matchup as well, largely because of the Raheem Morris versus Sean McVay aspect of this. I know that they have, the Falcons, that is, have players that are former Rams. So do we. We've got, Landman came over, who I think is a starter for this team. I don't think he was brought over to be a backup. And then Raheem Morris, obviously that's a big one. So, lots of storylines that we'll dive into when it gets to that point. And then the Rams will be, finishing up in week 18, hosting the Arizona Cardinals, which I think is the perfect week 18 matchup, considering that I do think that the Rams and the Cardinals are going to be 1-2, for this season. So I love this matchup being late. We, of course, don't know if it'll be Saturday or Sunday, maybe Sunday night. It is right now just TBD on one of those days, so we'll see how that shakes out. But if you are keeping track at home, we'll kind of just run over a few things that I had mentioned again. All 5 of the Rams' AFC opponents within the first 7 weeks. A Week 8 bye, which I absolutely love, and then you come off of the bye at home against the New Orleans Saints team, so you should be able to win that game. You're rested, and the Saints are kind of a bummer. Let's be real here. I'm not trying to trash anybody, but they're not that great. And then you go to San Fran. You're at home against the Niners. Then you're at home against the Bucs. That's a bit of a stretch. You go to Carolina, not that crazy. At Arizona, you never know. Versus Detroit, that's tough. In Seattle, always going to be a little bit tough. It's a division game on the road. At Atlanta, still up in the air. I do have them winning that division, though. And then at home against the Arizona Cardinals. So the back end of the schedule is definitely tougher. And also, 4 of the last 6 of the Rams games on the schedule are on the road. So that is also a little bit of a tough break, I suppose. And another reason why I think that it's like, it feels like the schedule makers were making other teams' schedules, and then just like by the time it's like when you're doing all the picks and stuff like that, and it's like, but the last one is gonna just be set. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So it's like I feel like we just got burned on this. But like the Eagles game and the Ravens game, I think those are the two that bother me the most because those are very blatantly high flying primetime action, and we got burned out of that. So that is your 2025 Los Angeles Rams hit list. If you are heading to any games, please let me know. I am absolutely fired up to talk about it, even if I'm not heading to that game. So, yeah, let me know which games you're going to be at. Right now, I am eyeballing At home against the Colts, I am eyeballing. At home against the Bucks, I'm eyeballing at Arizona, and at home against the Detroit Lions. Those are the kind of ones that I'm just kind of peeking at right now. And also, I think I kind of might want to try that Cleveland preseason game. I don't know, dude. Because I, first of all, liked it out there a lot. I think Cleveland was cool. Very different from LA, but very cool still. And I want to see the Pro Football Hall of Fame again. That's like my second home already. Third home. All right. The Sheriff Station is one. SoFi, number two. And then the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Absolutely loved it out there, dude. Didn't want to leave. Pretty much had to drag me out of there. I'm hanging on to Isaac Bruce's dome, and they're dragging me. I'm like, I'm not ready, stuff like that. So it happens. Maybe I'm not allowed back. Who knows? I did ask somebody while I was there. I was like, are you who I need to talk to get Torrey Holton? He just laughed. So I don't know. Maybe. Maybe I didn't do enough, though, man. Maybe I got to go in there with a Holt jersey or something next time. I don't know. We got to figure that out, man. Got to get big game into the hall for sure. But that is your schedule, man. Again, let me know which games you're going to. And we'll dive into our fan quesos. We do have some schedule-related fan quesos. That's on the other side of this break. It's right here at Ram Showcase. Welcome back in, Ram Showcase. Sheriff Joe Bags right here. So let's go ahead and get into our fan quesos. Again, the intention was kind of just schedule specific here because this is just kind of our schedule episode. And first one here coming from John. How many games is the Sheriff going to this year and which ones? Yeah, certainly looking at a few. It's also not impossible that I go to none this year. Just as like a money purpose, you know what I mean? Like that's in my head of just being like, let's just be smart about this because sometimes I do too many. and then I'm sitting there like, oof, shouldn't have done all that, man. Shouldn't have done all that. But either way, it's a good time no matter what. So I mean, there's also that part, dude. There's also that part that it's also fun and awesome. And you don't live multiple times, or whatever. So there's that part as well. Let's go ahead and head over to the YouTube channel. We were on the Facebook page. So we're just going to go down the list here. Let's see here. This one coming from Paul. Which game are you most excited to see the Rams play this 2025 season? I will say, my answer to some of these would not have been different 3 days ago. Just knowing the order of the games and what time slot they're in and stuff like that, largely irrelevant to me. Because I mean, I don't make the schedule. We just got to play who they tell us to play and when, you know what I mean? But this entire time, it's Rams at Eagles. That is the game I'm most excited for. I'm a little bit disappointed in the time slot, but again, maybe that's actually good. Maybe it'll take a little bit of pressure away from that game. Again, being so early in the season as well. And there's a little bit of me that thinks that Jared Verse is going to have 18 sacks that game. So, you know what I mean? Like, he's so frustrated about that Eagles loss. If you didn't see him on Rich Eisen, definitely recommend it. That guy curses so much. Which is so funny that, like, you got guys like Kobe Turner who are out here, like, on Instagram being like, I've never cussed once in my life. And his wife's like, that's not true. And he's like, I'm telling you the truth. And then you got Jared Verse on here just dropping F-bombs and stuff on Rich Eisen. Just like they're nothing, dude. Like, it's crazy. So, but yeah, that's easily the game I'm most excited for this year for sure. I'm always excited for the Niners games. Those are just, that whole week feels very fun, which sucks that we have one of those on a Thursday. Just a bummer because it's like, then the whole thing is truncated a little bit. It's like, we don't get that full version of Niners week. It's like, I got to do an episode right now and let's get this bad boy out, get it recorded, published, stuff like that. We don't get time to really sit in it, which I guess can be helpful, but ultimately, Niners week is very exciting. I like when we can kind of extend that out a little bit. So if that's like a Monday, that's really fun for me, stuff like that. But definitely Rams at Eagles, that's number one, man. That's the best one. Next one here come from Payo Time. When the Rams are the first team to host an NFL game on the moon, okay, what would be the title of that game? Ooh. And who would you want their opponent to be? Great show. Thanks, man. Something greatest show on something, man. Greatest show on creators or something. That'd probably be, that checks out, I think. That's a hard one. I've seen this question days ago, too. I have no idea, man. I've been thinking. Nothing's, what would you name it? That's my reverse. But who would I want the opponent to be? I would go Houston. Just because of the whole NASA stuff. I would say that Houston would be a good one. To see Houston lose to the Rams on the moon, I think would be cool. And then you guys know where I'm going with this. Houston, we got a problem, obviously. Obviously, we're going to say that 20,000 times every time anything happens to the Texans. Houston, we got a problem. I don't make the rules. Next one here from Payo Time. Question. Hell yeah, dude. That's what we're here for. Do you think the NFL schedule can give a major advantage to certain teams? I hear every year when the media talks about strength of schedule or distance traveled or time of year, at the end of the day, isn't it the coaches and players' responsibilities to adapt and face the schedule they are given? Or are any of those reasons valid reasons for a team to underperform? Love the show. Thank you again. So let's go through there. Do you think an NFL schedule can give a major advantage to certain teams? Yes and no. I think that we know as Rams fans that typically we've seen underperformance in early slots, which we got 6 of this year. In that 10 a.m. window, the Rams typically have not performed as well. What that happens to be, I'm not really sure. Is it a body clock thing? Whatever. I don't fully know. But we've seen that. And then also, I always take into consideration, I look at our opponents every time before we get the schedule, and it's like, which ones are possibilities for cold games? I always kind of look at that, and mainly that's just because we're a Los Angeles team. These guys are from everywhere, though, and they're also football players, so I don't think anybody out here is going to be like, I didn't play that well because it was chilly. It was pretty chilly, and I didn't want to hit that hard because it hurts. Like, I don't think that that's a thing. So yes and no, but obviously some teams have an advantage in that weather because they deal with it more. So, like, you get a situation where, like, the Steelers or something like that, where Mike Tomlin's been the coach for, like, 84 years, and he knows that field, that stadium, the venue, especially late season. He kind of knows ways to adjust to put his team in the best position, considering any kind of weather. So it can and not, you know what I mean? Like, because obviously they just have to deal with that every year. So we have to deal with hot early season. So that's something that the Rams have to deal with. That's why we wear white a lot at home early season. So, and then, yeah, you also talk about the strength of schedule, which, first of all, hate that. I think it's a pointless number to look at. We can look at what teams did last year all we want to, but nobody thought that last year, some people thought, but nobody really thought that Washington being on your schedule was like you're gonna have to come for that one, man. You're gonna have to play for that day, man. Because on the strength of schedule, that was a weak game. Teams that I think are going to be much, much improved this year. I think New England is going to be much improved. I think that Jacksonville is going to be much improved. So I think that Minnesota is going to be worse. There's a lot of moving things, man. Because Minnesota was the best wild card team ever, and they love to tell you about that. But I think that they'll be worse this year. Who knows what McCarthy is, dude? But I think Jacksonville, they got a really good coach. I think their scouting stuff is very similar to how I felt about Brad Holmes going to Detroit a few years back as their GM. It just made sense. It's like, oh, they're going to start to get better. And I think the same thing with James Gladstone in Jacksonville, but they also got the head coach, Liam, so I think that's going to be good there. So either way, I say all that to say that the strength of schedule is bogus and pointless completely. All teams are good. This is the NFL. They're all good. Even the worst teams are damn good football teams. You know what I mean? So it's not like the MLB where you get a team like the Rockies, go Rocks, let's go, where they're just an absolute bummer. That happens, of course, sometimes, but still you can fight. You know what I mean? Like the 2009 Rams still gave some games to some people. You know what I mean? Even though they only won the one, they still were in there fighting. So that's considered. But then, yeah, it is up to the players and the coaches to adjust to whatever situation you got. We don't make the schedule. the players don't make the schedule, the team doesn't make the schedule. It's given to us. So ultimately, I don't get like super hyped up into the schedule stuff. I just want to know for, purposes of knowing, and I'm going to try to memorize it. That's just what I do. And usually I can get there by, July time, that I have it locked in and I can just tell you all the way down. But yeah, it is certainly up to the players and the coaches to do it. The games are there. You just got to win them. Doesn't matter the situation. And guess who cares if it's a hard game? Nobody, dude. Nobody cares if you're having a hard time against a team because it's chilly outside or snowing or it's super windy. Like, okay, yeah, they're dealing with it too. Go win the game, dude. So there's that part of it. Next one here coming from Joe. Great name. Would you take the over or under on 15 sacks for V8 this season? And will our D-line as a whole be better, worse, or the same? Your thoughts on the matter? 15, man, that's a lot. I'll be honest, that is a good chunk of sacks. Because like if you get 14, that's not a bad year. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to look at Jared Verse and be like, oh, we only got 13 sacks, 13 and a half. What a loser. Like that's not going to be the case. That being said, I think over. I think that he gets closer to the 18 mark this year. I think that we saw the raw athleticism last year. I think that this year turns into a little bit now more experience, a little bit more coaching, a little bit more just honing in the chaos a little bit, which I'm very excited for. I'm ready to see that controlled aggression like Aaron Donald used to talk about all the time. He's already got one of the best bull rushes in the NFL. So if he can pair that with some other new moves or some other stuff or some more strength over the course of the offseason, then I think that he can go over 15. Will our D-line be better, worse, or the same? I think it's going to be better. I don't hate Bobby Brown at all. Giga Maggies, dude. That was kind of my guy. But I think we improved by putting in Poona Ford. We got Fisk coming back, man. I'm feeling good about this defensive line. Then obviously Kobe Turner is an absolute machine. So I feel good about our defensive line and our pass rushers. I have a lot less, I think, a lot less hesitance on Byron Young being awesome this year. I think that he's going to have an improvement of a season as well. So yeah, man, I'm fired up for the pass rushers this year. I think that'll help what I still consider to be a rough corner group. I think that'll help them quite a bit. Unless Jalen Ramsey shows up, then I actually really like the corner group because that pushes everybody down a slot, which I think is kind of where I want everybody. Like I love D-Will, but I love him as a 2. I love Akello, but I love him as a 3 or a 4. I love DK, but I like him as a 2 or a 3. You know what I mean? I love Kobe, but I like him as a slot guy. You know what I mean? Jalen, if he can come in, man, I absolutely love it. But everybody in where their slots are now, it's like, yeah, I like these guys, but we could get a little bit better there. So if Jalen comes in and pushes all those guys down, I actually love the room. That's just me. Yeah, let's see here. Coming from Rams house. Whose house? All right, this is a lot of reading. All right, we're just going to plow through this here. Let's see here. I keep hearing that the Rams want to become a 12-personnel team this year. Addition of Terrence Ferguson, tons of tight ends on the roster, Stafford longevity, McVay's roots, etc. That said, if the Rams become more 12 personnel, do you believe it would be in large part because of Cooper Kupp's departure? McVay has said that he wanted to go into the 17 season as a 12 personnel team, but realized that he couldn't keep Woods and Kupp off the field. These players were sort of quasi tight ends at the receiver position. 11 personnel worked so well for us because of the play style. Do videos, bro. Do videos again. Come on, man. This is content for you. What do you? These players were sort of, yeah, let's see here. 11 personnel worked so well because they would play style of the receivers and Woods and Kupp and Nakua, and Kupp. Now with Kupp gone, the only players who play that style to complement Nakua is Jordan Whittington. I don't know if I agree with that, actually. That he's the only one. Let's see. Do you think that this is driving the decision to go to 12 personnel? You can still have the Tay and Nakua on the field, but when you have great blockers at the same pre-snap look like with different plays. While I love Jordan Whittington and Tutu Atwell, and I think they will be used more this year, I don't know if that will keep them in 11 personnel. It would be interesting to find out how It would be interesting to find out how find out the Rams changed from 11 to 12 personnel simply by losing Kupp. However, McVay does love to throw the ball, and Matthew loves empty sets. Pistol and shotgun, more under center. So the 11 personnel passing offense may remain. But you'd have to imagine it would look it would look a lot different without Kupp. Your thoughts? First of all, that question is wild. My thoughts? Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. No, actually, I think that the 12 personnel is definitely not out of the option here, man. I think that that's something that we will see regularly, but I also don't think that this is impossible that we see more split back sets this year as well. But you're right, the tight end grouping that we have here, I think it's built to run the football, which I think is something that the Rams want to try to do a little bit more this year. And then you also like having a guy like Ferguson come in, big rig Higgs in there, and then you have good running backs, man. You have great running backs back here with K-Dub. We obviously got Blake coming back as well, and then the rookie as well, Jarquez Hunter. So I don't think it's impossible that we see a lot more of that. But also, it's so exciting to know that this Rams team very blatantly wants to run the football a lot more and has Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. Crazy, dude. That's crazy. So to answer your question here of like just my thoughts on this is the Rams offense has had its own identity every single year. It's different identity every single year. So do I think that losing Kupp means the Rams change their offense entirely? Not necessarily. I do understand that Cooper Kupp's presence in the offense was a little bit unique in what his skill sets brought to the McVay and Stafford offense specifically. But I think with Devontae's addition, that is a little bit more open. I think it is for the purpose of kind of spreading things out a little bit more when that time comes to pass the football. So will we see more 12 personnel? Very realistically, that we could see, it's going to be, it totally feels real that it's going to be, Higgs and Ferg and then Devontae and Nacua largely. Feels like that's the case, right? Parkinson, I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that Parkinson doesn't get traded or something like that right now, or if he just kind of falls down the depth chart. But then I do think that this is, at best, his last year with the Rams. I just don't think his impact last year was as strong as we had hoped for. Which it's not intended to be a shot at Colby Parkinson. He shouldn't have cut his hair, dude. Just saying. But yeah, those are ultimately my thoughts. Is like, I'm just excited for by week 6, that Ravens game, that we'll know exactly what this offense is trying to do and trying to be. And I think that once we hit that week 7 and into week 8 into the bye week, that stretch afterwards, I think we could see a little bit of a different offense. So I do think that we could see either a lot of 11 or a lot of 12 early season, but then the opposite late season. And I just think that that's something that McVay would want to try to do and try to keep the evolution of the offense going over the course of a year, something that we also saw this last year as well. So next one here from Rams House. What would it be like working with Kobe Turner? Much shorter question. That's so funny. Oh, man. I almost got lost on your other question, man. I was like, what is this about? Anyway, what would it be like working with Kobe Turner? Dude, we would just be singing, man. All the time we'd be singing, man. I'm not a singer. I use my voice quite a bit. I talk way too friggin' much. But, yeah, man, I don't know. I would try to teach him stuff, Like, I'd be like, sing Darker Still by Parkway Drive or something. That'd be awesome, actually. Yo, Kobe. New dream, dude. That's so cool. But yeah, I think we would have a lot of fun. We would get yelled at all the time by our boss. Whoever our boss was, whatever job we were doing, it'd be like, hey, guys, get to work. Joe, put your guitar away. No, boss. Let's see here. Next one here from Payo Time. What Rams player do you think could be a surprise Pro Bowl selection in 2025? We all know the stars, Puka versus Stafford, etc. But could we see an Ethan Evans or a Cardi Party or maybe one of the new rookies? If it's going to be a rookie, I think that we'll see Pooh or Ferg. I'm going to go with those, man. Not that I think that Josiah Stewart is a bad selection at all. I just think he's in too loaded of a group. And then... yeah, Jarquez, I think, is just going to be too... He's not going to get enough reps, I would say, to do that. But as far as surprise guys that I think could make the Pro Bowl, I don't know what it is, man. I'm feeling really high on Landman. Um, New addition from the Atlanta Falcons. I feel good about him, man. I know no one's talking about him, I feel like, except for Rams Showcase. But so I feel like everybody is on Omar and Chris Paul. Like, and reasonably. Those are good players, man. But there's something about Nate Landman that I think is gonna add something really nice to this defense. So I'm gonna say possibly him. I'm gonna go Puna. Give me Fisk, man. Give me Fisk on that one. On the offensive side, I'm going to go ahead and slot in K-Dot. I feel like he is such an underrated performer there, and I'll just toss in Steve as well onto that one. I like our entire offensive line, honestly. They should all go. All Rams against the AFC. That's probably be decent, actually, dude. Probably be decent. That's all I'm saying, man. But yeah, I think that we have a lot of good options there to see. But you know what? I think that too, man. I think that not enough even Rams fans are talking about Tutu Atwell this year. I think he's going to have a really good year. And K-Dub, I think, is going to go off, man. Rams House with another book of a question here. Have you seen the stats that show BY? Ooh, we're getting into BY here. This is one I actually wanted to, we'll just finish it here before I just jump in and just give you my thoughts already after I only read the first, 5%. Have you seen the stats on BY? Gets all or 80% of his sacks in the first 10 games of the season, then tails off. This has happened 2 consecutive years. It feels like he wears down as the season goes on. With that said, how much do you think Josiah Stewart will help BY's production, but how will he get production himself? I'm very high on Stewart and think he has a chance to be better than BY. He could start this season as a rotational guy and maybe a guy for the cheetah package. Absolutely. But wouldn't be surprised if he ends up becoming the starter and BY finishes the season as the juiced pass rusher that comes in when Stewart or Verse needs a break. I really feel like Stewart could even become an every down edge opposite of Verse, and BY becomes the ultimate chess piece in that cheetah package. Your thoughts? I don't know if I fully agree, but also this year is kind of the year that I'm looking at for BY. Third year is really where it's like, all right, you got to have it together now. And not that BY hasn't. I have not seen that stat. I do think it's rather interesting. But I also want to see if there's more to it than that. If there's more attention towards Byron Young, and maybe not necessarily him getting gassed in those late games, just if they're kind of paying more attention to him because he is such a monster. So I don't know. I have nothing negative to say about Josiah Stewart. I think he's going to come in and be a really solid rotational piece for the Rams. I'm not sure if I see him taking over BY's starting role, at least quite yet. But I would say this question is being asked to me too soon. I think that ultimately I got to see Josiah play and I got to see BY in another season before I could comfortably answer this question and be like, yeah, Stewart's the guy kind of thing. Because I don't want to say that he can't be or won't be anything like that, because that just feels extreme. But I think that ultimately BY will be the starter over the course of this season. Who's the next, or excuse me, this one from Rams House as well. Who's the most overlooked Rams player in history? That is such a hard question. One I probably should have thought about a little bit more, but there's a lot of options here. Colin Bryant, I don't think ever got his fair shake as far as like Rams love. Super Bowl touchdown scorer for the Rams. Danny Amendola was one of those guys. I loved Danny. Mark Bulger, I think, is kind of overlooked as a player for the Rams. Oddly enough, like the rest of the fearsome foursome, like Rosie and Lamar, those guys kind of like they don't get as much love. I mean, fair. Merlin and Deacon are just absolute destroyers. So I guess there's that part. But most overlooked player in Rams history. I'm kind of torn to say Bulger. I think he was a very good quarterback. Had a not team around him and terrible coaches. So that's just a rough spot, man. 2021 Cooper Kupp versus 2020 Jalen Ramsey. Who wins the battle? Depends on what you mean by battle, man. Is this one route? Is it the game? Is it a season that we're looking at them? Because I think that if we go over the course of, let's say if we're going 10 routes, I think it's 6-4 either way. If we're going 10 games, I think it's 6-4 either way. I think that they're so close that that it's so impossible to say. Because like if it's like a Jalen Ramsey in the Super Bowl, Cooper Kupp's smoking him. Cooper Kupp in the Super Bowl, Cooper Kupp smoking him. Even at his best, Ramsey, that is. So, yeah, I think that ultimately we've seen these guys both do some absolutely unbelievable things. I'd really put this as 50-50 as you can possibly get. I think that Kupp would win plenty of routes and Jalen would win plenty of these as well. So, to give you an actual answer, if I'm just going to give me one play from, let's say I can't go too far here, from the 20, and it's one-on-one Cooper Kupp versus Jalen Ramsey, I think I would go that Cooper Kupp would pull it down. I think I would say that. Let's see here. Payo time. Which former Rams quarterback would you want to interview the most? Garrett Gilbert? I don't know why this name is coming up so much in my life. In our life, I suppose. Bryce Perkins or Austin Davis? Definitely going Austin Davis here, man. I thought he was the guy. I thought he was going to be a long-term option for the LA Rams. I thought he was absolutely awesome. His energy was electric. He was basically like what I would consider a Baker Mayfield, but with less talent. I would love to talk to Austin Davis and kind of ask him about those games that he was playing in and kind of what was going through his mind, what the conversations were, what it was like in practice, knowing that it's like, I mean, this is a backup quarterback. He's lower end on the roster kind of guy, and kind of what the conversations were. I would love to hear some more insight from Austin Davis on that. Let's see here. Who would win in a game between the 2018 Rams and the 2021 Rams? This one coming from Rams House. We do have a comment here that Payo Time says, I think 2021 takes it in overtime. I tend to agree that the 21 team was the better Rams team. I think that having Todd Gurley at a peak Todd Gurley, I mean, not a playoff version of the Todd Gurley, I think that changes a little bit, but I think that 21 Rams team was just absolutely pinnacle, especially when you consider the additions of like Eric Weddle, Von Miller, OBJ, stuff like that, which is something that we didn't see in the 2018 season. So I think that if I'm going full on two and like that second year McVay versus a fifth year McVay, I'm giving the edge to Matthew Stafford and a more experienced McVay over Jared Goff and a 2-year McVay is my answer to that one. And then Rams House on a final question here. Most overrated Ram of all time. I am not going to answer this because I refuse to talk bad about any of these guys. I know that some people would answer James Laurinaitis. I am not one of those people. I know some people would name Kurt Warner, but I would not name James Laurinaitis. No, sir. No, sir. Some people might name Kurt Warner, but I wouldn't name James Laurinaitis. I don't know, man. Thank you for your quesos, man. We're going to wrap up on that. So, schedule is out. The hit list is out. Drop your games, which ones you are looking at going to, or which ones you're just most excited to watch. Some of us can't go to games. I may not go to any this year. We'll kind of see what happens, but I'll be watching every single snap. I know that much for sure. So let me know which ones you're most excited for. If you are going out to any, let me know that as well. Again, thank you for your quesos. We'll get into another episode. I think we're going to try to shoot for that next weekend as well. So this is not going to be the final one in this sheriff station. But heads up, we are getting a new sheriff station as I'm moving at the end of this month, actually, early next month. So, yeah, just do a new apartment. Nothing crazy. But maybe an LA move next year. I don't know, dude. We'll see. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, man. Rams, hit list. It's out. Now we can get plans ready. It's going to be absolutely awesome, man. It's going to be a fun season for the LA Rams, coming off of a great season. We're in a fun era right now of Rams football, and this schedule is just another opportunity to keep that action rolling. So, again, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Make sure you follow on all your favorite social media at Ram Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Bags, RamShowcase.com. That is going to do it for me. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. This has been Ram Showcase on Sports War Radio and the Fan Sided Network. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, Our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching, and go Rams.